these are the notes from what happened earlier today for those of you that have missed it. I ruined it. Wait, I ruined it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on. Oh, I got it. I got it back. We're good. Okay. Anyways, so here's what happened this morning. Um, so as you can see, they want to do class balance. We know about that. They've been doing that for a while. Many players are asking why so many classes are being buffed and just how strong Wusa is. This is just something they talked about. There wasn't really much. It was just a discussion the devs had. Again, a lot of this is related to Wusa, right? Wusa is super strong, so they want to, you know, try to. They're trying not to nerf and instead buff, which is a good thing in all honesty. Especially when you talk about PvE, because in PvE, right? Like, who cares how strong you are? PvE is PvE. Let people have fun, right? As long as it's not a completely unbalanced mess, right? And by that I mean like nothing's brain dead easy. Like there are brain dead easy things in this game. It's just kind of the nature of it when you're doing like low end spots with a lot of gear. Like what happened with Kratuga, right? Or shit, what was that place called? The place in Calpheon. The Calpheon Elvia place that was broken for a while. I can't remember the name of it. But that spot, right? But yeah, this is good, I think, right? They do plan to buff a lot of classes, like I just said, but they're gonna do 2 phases. I don't know what phase 2 means. So phase 1 is clearly what they're doing right now, right? Which is just buffing a lot of the classes in terms of just a lot of. They're just increasing damage across the board for everything, right? I don't know what phase 2 is. They just said they're gonna fix more issues, so that could mean a lot of things, right? That could be changing around protections, changing around CCs. They could be, messing with cooldowns, flows. Like who knows? Like this is phase 2 is really generic and not helpful. But Guardian Witch don't get buffed. Rip them. I really don't know why. Like I don't know why. Is because okay, Guardian. I honestly have no fucking idea why. Because I don't play the class and I don't know what it's like in PvE. I'm assuming that means it's good. But Witch, this makes no sense to me because from what I am aware, Witch's PvE is very similar to Awakened Wizards. I think their AoEs are a little bigger and they have more forward guard, which makes them better at some spots but worse at others. But to me, I feel like Witch just performs the same as Wizard does. So I don't know why Witch isn't getting anything. That's just weird to me. Oh my god. Ah. All right, so let's go back to this. Baldness is a big Chad energy. So is Awakening Wizard. Awakening Wizards are the Chads of Wizards, let's be honest. Okay, where did I leave off in this? I don't even remember. We talked about Witch and Guardian. I think that was it, right? We got to here. So up next, they said they wish they had more time to explain all the PvE stuff, but they felt rushed. So they just kind of did it instead of going through the usual process. So what they're talking about here, this is a bit of insight for those of you into the game development industry, which I've been in before, as a programmer. This is basically whenever you do things to a game, right? What they're talking about here is you never just want to ease people into things, no matter even if it's a good change that a lot of people are looking forward to. Yeah, so about the game dev stuff, basically you never want to just do changes abruptly. You want to ease people into it, even if it's a good change, right? It's this you see the same thing as this in real world stuff too, like in politics. You'll see a lot of like laws and stuff be passed kind of like easing people into what the final law they want to get into is so that they're not as like freaked out or shocked by the change. So that's all they're doing here. Is they say they're not following their usual process here, and they're doing a very shocking, abrupt change that thankfully isn't too big a deal because people don't care because it's buffs, right? It's PvE buffs, so they're not really crying about it. But they're just not doing what they normally do. They're just saying, it takes time, be patient, yada yada yada. You'll see the changes at this time on the 8th of November, which means for us, we'll probably get it hopefully 2 weeks later, but who knows, right? With a large change like with the smaller changes, it's usually a safe assumption we'll get it 2 weeks later, but this is kind of like a large sweeping change, so it might take longer. But yeah, then they're gonna go back to PvP balance after that, which everyone loves to see that. Sometimes, at least. They also, this is big right here. Like, some people are probably a little annoyed or angry about this one. But them saying they like the specialization, I like this. Right? And that's coming from a class that suffers very heavily in 1v1, right? This is good. I think them choosing to keep this, then making everyone feel the same is a great thing. So basically what this is, they're just gonna let classes be strong in some areas and weak in others. That's all they're doing. They want to keep it that way, and I think that's fine. I think that's a good place for a game like an MMO to be. I think this is fine. I like this. And then they talk about the PvE championship. They said it took place. This I didn't know. There were many problems. So it's again, this is translated, so I don't know how well this was translated, but it says there were still many problems. Which meant they knew, right? They knew the championships would have issues. They knew they had these desync, this, I'm going to use air quotes here, lag, right? Because here in NA, okay, admission, I'm a Cali boy. I live in California. I'm pretty close to the servers. My ping is very good. But I know a lot of people aren't in California. So they experienced what is normal ping for us, finally. So, but anyways, they went forward with it, knowing the issues, which is kind of a bad play on their part. But at least it's kind of one of those situations where, like, we don't have to change anything until something goes wrong. Well, something went wrong in a big way, and they're finally gonna hopefully try to do it. And this is kind of crazy to me, by the way. They're compensating people for, they're gonna pay for people's VPN subscriptions. That's kind of fucking crazy. But yeah, they're aware of the issues. Hopefully this means better connection and some desync fixes, right? And then they moved on into the next section, which was Guild War decks and PvP. So PA apologized for lack of communication when they announced it. So here's the thing about this statement. They did. So okay, again, this is coming from my opinion as someone who's been in game development before. I feel like they had enough communication about this. I feel like they did enough. I don't know why they're apologizing for this. And what I mean by that is the big dev like letter they put out explaining their reasoning and the logic and how they came to this decision. That's more than enough communication for like every game. I think they had enough communication with us for this. In terms of like announcing it, unless they're talking about the back and forth of getting opinions of players, because again, a lot of people felt like they were unheard about this decision. If they're talking about that, then I can get it, because they didn't really have much of a back and forth with us. They kind of just said we're doing it. They saw us freaking out and like complaining about it, and then they tried to respond with those complaints with the reasoning, which is fine. Like, I think that's a good thing. But yeah, you know, again, going into it, they thought about it for a long time. People argued about it. They liked it at the start, but now are used to harass and bully others, which honestly, I mean, okay. I've been playing BDO since 2019. So what, 4 years? This is how decks have been since I started playing. So at what point were they not used for this? I'm not saying that's the only thing they were used for, but this has been happening for 4 years at least. So obviously, I think the reason this change happened was because of the big influx of players that happened after that huge like influx that happened during the ball, right? That's why they decided to do this. But yeah, they tried to alleviate the issue, but they changed it. They also tried to do the server thing in another region. It failed. In Japan, they were not very common. Wait. At first, oh. So in Japan, it wasn't very common, and then it started to happen more. Please understand our decision. I'll try. They want to make more PvP content. So they hear us, right? They hear us complaining that with GVGs in the current state, there's not going to be enough PvP content for some people. So they hear it. They're trying. What this means, I don't know. Hopefully more stuff like War of the Roses. I think War of the Roses is really cool. He wants Reaper from Terra. I never played Terra. Terra was a game I wanted to play when I was younger, but I didn't have a PC and I couldn't afford one because I was a kid. But but yeah, they don't want to. So they don't want to make PvP. Basically, what I'm reading this as, so however, they don't want to increase silver rewards too much due to players going AFK and only doing the content for rewards. What I'm reading this as is they're gonna make this. They want to make PvP similar to what the mid-range life skills do, right? So I'm talking about like bartering, right? Like bartering makes decent money, but it's not insane. That's what I'm thinking they're gonna do. It's gonna make good money, but it's not gonna be near best in slot. That's how I feel they're gonna do this. So we'll see though, right? This is like we'll see in the future. They're looking into considering making War of the Roses more often if it's popular. Maybe increasing the amount of factions so that more people can participate every week. Double thumbs up for me on that. I think this is going to be super fucking popular in NA at least. And I'm honestly worried about if I'm ever going to get a spot if I'm not in one of the lead guilds. So, but yeah. So going on, this is awesome because again, I think this is going to be super popular in NA, and people are going to be competing for spots a lot. So I hope they increase the caps of like how many people can participate. When you use a cannon, you'll now get a message to confirm a hit and miss. This is going to be huge, right? So now in Node War, basically you're not going to need spotters anymore. You just get to know if you're landing the shots or not. Kill death scores in wars will be integrated into a score system. I don't mind this, but I swear to God, if they hide my kill death on the, like, if I can't see how many kills I get in a war, I'm going to go crazy. We don't need this kind of hand holding in this game, right? How many people have, like, so I've been in 3 guilds and I've merked out for a few others. In every guild I've been in, no one has ever looked at my kill death ratio and used that as a reason to discriminate against me or like say I'm not good enough to play, in war with them. Right? That has never happened. I'm really hoping this is just like an in addition to situation. So I hope it's not that hand holding kind of stuff where they're trying to hide players' performance or make it more generalized so that it's harder for people to like see. Because I mean, hell, in some wars you go super negative, right? Because you're just doing a lot of int plays. But Arena of Solera will be made permanently available next season. Me and everyone else has been asking for this for fucking ever. Thank God. Like, holy shit. This is great. Your requirement is X score per node war or get kicked. That would, if they did that, maybe it would maybe if we did that, they would just not do it. But again, we don't know. It could be in addition to situation again, right? And lastly, for PvP stuff, in Arsha, the message saying someone was killed will be removed, and family names will be hidden. There are plans to provide an environment so that even guild members can kill each other. This cracks me up. This is hilarious to me. High kill, low death equals best score. I don't know. We'll see. That's what I would assume, and probably some combination of that with like structure kills and it'd be funny is if horse kills count towards the score too. All those people being glue factories, just getting all that glue during the horse, just have these crazy high scores. People are fighting for horse kills now to get a good score. That'd be pretty fucking funny. Um, but yeah, this is funny to me. I don't. This is changes whatever. I think it's good. It'll add more PvP. Right now, guilds will just have fun with each other. Um, but yeah, this is cool. Dark Seeker's Retreat. So for those of you who don't know, Dark Seeker's Retreat is the new spot where the new artifacts and the shoes are. So here are the changes for this. He was very busy developing other content when they did the zone. This is them just clarifying that, hey, we had a lot of shit going on. Sorry if there are issues. That's all they're saying. Oh, and then they went on to say that literally what I just said. There are issues. My bad. Um, People don't like the long grind for the shoes. And I'm like, what? This so from what I see, right, this grind is very similar in length from what I've seen to the original Flame of Frost grind before any changes. That took a long time to grind for, and people never really complained about it, in all honesty. So that's why I'm confused why they're saying they're tired of it. Not very profitable, very high risk for losing 16 bill worth of crystals. That would make more sense if they said that. This is probably just either a bad translation or they just don't understand why people don't like it. Um, but yeah, people don't like it basically in Korea. So they're extending the Catforce event so people can still get their boots in Korea. This is all related. Again, most of this live stream was in relation to Korean players, so that's why you see them talking about like, in Korea. And the monster AP will be reduced and embers will be more obtainable through the boss spot. So they're just making it easier, which I think it's fine. I mean, we don't have the spot yet. We don't know how it feels. You think people are okay with a long grind that is no risk, like Frostframe, but with the new spot, it's all risk? He likes insta-dying. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, I grind at Tungrad Ruins pretty regularly. You can insta die there if you kind of don't pay attention, but the main thing I'm worried about with this, right? Here's the thing I'm worried about in relation to this whole thing, right? I know we haven't gone through the whole thing yet, but here's my issue. You gave me a red orb reminder. Hold on. I have the red orb. Oh, the people aren't sandwiching me anymore. Look at that. There's the red orb. Okay. So my whole thing with this, right, is I'm sure some of you guys watching can, you know, agree with this feeling, right? They haven't added endgame spots that have been meaningful in a long time. I might as well just keep tabbed into the game if you guys are going to spam that. Well, yeah, I'm getting to that. Recently, they finally started doing that with Dekia and the new region, Ulukita, right? But yeah, they've been doing that recently, which is nice. I'm glad they're doing that. There's these meaningful spots that are for endgame players that make money. They drop items that are very useful and sought after. I think it's great. I hope that with this, with their response to this, they don't shy away from it. That's what I'm worried about. I don't want them to shy away from it because of people complaining. I hope they don't. But we'll see, right? Moving on to these changes, though, you can get 2 artifacts. We all know that. It's RNG. People hate having bad luck and taking 100 hours to get them. So they're adding pity pieces at 3 pieces an hour. I think that's fine. That's fair. I've heard it takes on average 25 hours to get one anyways. So if you're getting 3 pieces an hour, that's 30 hours. A little more than average. So I think that's fine. That's a good change. People can buy and sell the pity pieces. That's always good. Make more money potentially. This will be on Global Labs next week. And the pity pieces is still kind of up to discussion. That's going to be in Global Labs, but they're not sure if they're going to put it to the main servers yet. We'll see, right? Monster zones and AP caps. There are 2 types of monster zones. There is RNG spots and trash spots. We all know this. Spots like Kratuga or Upper Gyfin or Orcs, those are spots where you care about the trash loot. That's where the majority of your money comes from. They're very consistent because you're always getting a similar amount of trash loot. Whereas other spots like RNG, you can make a lot more money potentially, but you also have those bad hours, right? Because you rely on the rare drops. So we all know about that. They feel like the RNG spots are a little underpowered. So I think this is awesome. So RNG spots are getting buffed. I don't know how they're going to do that. They say they will make drop rate buffs more impactful. So does that mean loot scrolls are getting buffed? Like that's what came to mind when I heard this initially. Either they're making loot scrolls buffed or they're just going to make the drop rates better at those places. So yeah, we'll see what that means when they actually implement it. Then they talked about AP caps. They're there, as we all know, we've heard this 1,000 times. They're there to prevent high gear players from going to low end spots because they'll be better. And then they even went on to like mention what I talked about earlier, which was they haven't been adding end game spots until recently. I'm glad they're finally doing it. Tortuga and Thornwood are broken. Break their legs. They're already broken. It's gone. It's done. It's over with. Unfortunately. A loot scroll buff that would impact every grind spot under the sun, or a localized increase on the spots that are Underperforming. I don't know. Because what do they say? Let me read this again. Um, yeah, they just say these places. So it sounds like they're talking about all of the RNG spots in general. Just from this again, this is a translation. Don't take anything as like set in stone. But it sounds like they're just talking about doing a sweeping change across all the RNG spots, from what I'm understanding from this, because they're talking specifically about drop rate increase buffs. So that's loot scrolls, old moon scrolls, pent buff. Yeah, so crystals, they can't do it because there's too many things that'll be affected, from central market to I mean, this is mainly central market. Let's face it, right? Like, they're trying to be very general in their statements, but they're talking about the central market. They don't want crystal prices to crash. So yeah. Um but basically they just want to make them drop more. They're making them more accessible, which is I'll do, like, they threw us a bone, right? Here you go. It won't be as painful now, which fine, we'll take it, right? Were already up huge from the global patch notes that have been happening recently, with like accessibility and price increases, and just like traces being easier to get. They're already up huge, but this is big. They want to make elixirs easier to obtain. They would like to merge party and normal elixirs. Awesome. Now my giant storage of PvP elixirs is not just for PvP. Now I can have it in PvE as well. They want to maybe make drafts stronger, so you don't have to use elixirs anymore. Or introducing a new treasure item, which is basically all the elixirs in one. This right here, 16 elixirs in one infinite item. This is awesome, and I would super happy to see this. But they're creating the same situation they did with the infinite pot, right? Which is, it's a necessary item, right? If you want to play the game in any kind of competitive way, you will need this item. Is it? If you want to be sweaty and competitive, yeah, it's going to be necessary, right? All the top end guilds are going to want that for their PvPers. If you want to do PvE spots and be competitive at like end game spots and pull the same money as other people, you're going to need it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, oh, I see what you're saying. If they do both, if they do both of these, I was thinking of this as one or the other. If they do both, then maybe it won't be as big a deal. You could always just buy the drafts, right? And it'll be the same effect. It's just you're spending money on it. Um, but yeah, it's basically like I was just going over. It's just the same situation with infinite pots again. But in Korea, people don't like treasure grinding. This was shocking to me, by the way. I thought it was like treasure grinding was kind of like accepted the same across most regions. So what I'm getting from this is it's probably not going to be a treasure item, which makes me sad. I think that would be really cool. They want to make alchemy better, and they want to combine food buffs, so there's less foods for people to worry about. So for all of you guys sitting in Magnus, or not, or actually that doesn't work anymore. For all of you guys popping food rotation for Node Wars, you sweaty fucks, you don't have to do that. You don't have to log in 2 hours before war to get your food rotation going. Damage number wise, they've said this before. I don't even know why this has been mentioned again. Maybe they're just reminding people, I guess, because some people weren't aware of their whole opinion on this. Um, Damage numbers are not happening. They don't want people seeing how much they hurt. Exactly. So there you go. Everyone knows that already for the most part. Bronzestone prices. People complaining about them. They don't like the increase. It makes sense. They've done it, like they said, they've done it 2 times before, and I'm sure people complain then too, but it's just inflation, right? We're in an economy, we're in an active economy in an MMO. That's how MMOs end up being. And inflation is happening, as it always does. And they have to make sure the prices make sense in that inflation so people aren't progressing extremely fast, right? It sucks. Sure, I'd love to see crons stay their old price, but it was bound to happen, and it'll probably happen again if the game keeps going, right? If inflation keeps happening, which it will, and the game keeps going, it's gonna go up. It's, you know, it sucks. People are gonna complain about it, but if you're complaining about it, you're wrong. You're wrong. Suck it up. There. Um, then we go into some generic stuff here. Well, no, actually, this is related to costumes. People want a toggle for Berserker. It's not possible because they can't program it. If I could see their code, I could probably tell you why because I program, but I cannot. So, sorry, Zerker players, not happening. But I know I baited you guys. It is happening. Um, they will add 2 versions of the skill. Maybe this is just an option where you could like have it happen and not happen. So there's gonna basically you'll have 2 skills, which is weird. I don't know how that's gonna be really weird if that's how it is. People want more modern costumes. Yeah, no, they're not doing that. They don't want to, right? They want to. They're trying to keep their game grounded in the era and the theme it is, but they're not going to do that. Is basically what they said here. The game is going to keep it grounded. We have Shark Head Barney outfit. Well, that's for coloring it though, right? It wasn't designed to be that way. But I think I don't know, they'll keep doing the costumes they're doing. I think they've been doing a great job with them for the most part. Um but yeah, basically what I just said, they don't want to break the immersion. They don't want to break the theme. They want it to be medieval fantasy. It's going to stay medieval fantasy. They will do their best, right? And I mean, to be fair, there have been some outfits that are kind of out there that still work in the game. Like, let me hold on. Let me hide this. I'll show you. The outfit I'm talking about, for those of you who are unaware, is where is it? Sage's Kuranos outfit. This is as far as like this looks like a high-tech outfit, right? Like this looks like modern futuristic cyberpunk Gundam, I don't know. This outfit looks sick. But it still matches in the game somewhat and it fits the theme because that's kind of how the ancients, which is the species of sages, are, right? So more things like this would probably work, so maybe we'll see stuff like this. Explain the Bugatti outfit lore. Horse go fast, haha, funny. That shit is ass. You don't like it? Make it for other classes. I mean, that'd be cool too. I like that outfit a lot. I have it on my Sage. I'd wear it on my Wizard. And then they address the cape issue. It's not easy to fix. It would require a big change like the Wizard body rework. That took a year to complete. So for classes that have short capes on their outfits, you're kind of SOL. Sounds like they don't really want to invest in it at the moment. Thank you for the follow, Johnson. Appreciate it. But yeah, it just sounds like they don't want to put effort into it at the moment. They don't want to waste time and money on it. Again, using my knowledge from being in the gaming industry, my assumption with this is characters have built in basically the way they make the capes is with a base model and base class. I'm using kind of technical terms there, but basically my point is capes and outfits are all inherited from a base cape, which is either a long cape or a short cape, and therefore how they perform, how they're rendered, and how their physics behave in game is all tied to that base class. So because of that, it's a lot of effort to change it that they don't want to do because they would have to go deep into their code and change a lot of shit. Thank you for the prime, man. Man, what a Giga Chad comes in with the follow and the prime. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Moving on. So this change sucks. I hate this. This was like the saddest moment of the stream for me. HP of field bosses will be merged for all servers. Badge. Field bosses will be improved. Why though? Like, I liked trains. Trains were fun. I'm sad that they're going away. Boss trains just aren't gonna happen anymore. Basically, all field bosses are is they're just world bosses. They're world bosses with a random spawn timer, which is the weirdest thing. Like, at least with the boss trains, like you'd get pinged about it if you were in the boss Discord or if your guild or whatever sends out a notification when they happen. But if you missed like the first one or two, it was whatever because you knew you were gonna get like a few more. Now it's just an RNG timer, and if you're not there when it happens, well, rip. No boss for you. Garma's Heart is hard, as we all know. It's difficult to obtain. They keep trying to fix it, and it's never enough. So they're gonna keep on trying. They want to make it more obtainable. The one suggestion was, let's make it more expensive again. That's not the problem, PA. The problem is it doesn't drop enough. Make it drop more. Thank you. Goodbye. Add pity pieces. That would work too, which we kind of already have with the new request, but I guess add them to Garmoth now, right? Just make the quest repeatable. I mean, yeah, more opportunities. That works too. That's what they did last time, right? Instead of 2 times a week, now we can get it 3 times a week. Give us more chances, you know. Rolling the dice more means it'll happen more. So PA would like to hear players' feedback regarding these 2 suggestions. They'll also improve the quest line. So basically, Garmoth Heart, easier. Yes, good. Thank you. Life skills, we're going to keep making life skills better. They're aware that sniper hunting is strong. It doesn't feel that strong. It feels just about as good as, like, gathering, to me, at least. I don't know. Although I'm not, like, a super sweat that hunts at 2200 mastery. I only have, like, 1500 or 1400 or something. Gathering without tools. This is kind of like a whatever change. You can now gather without a tool. I think this is probably good for newer players, mainly. They can now, like, get stuff without having to worry about learning the whole tool system and how they work. Other content. Dark Rifts will be reduced to 6. And they also... Basically, they're condensing it so that the Dark Rifts will have... It's just less rifts to do with the same amount of rewards, which is good. Less time wasted, right? Also, no more running into Baturum, who spawns all the way in fucking... What was it? Crescent for no reason. Thank God. Also, probably... I'm assuming the Kama ones will also... What I'm assuming they're going to do is they're going to keep all the bosses that are in Calpheon and Heidel. Those will probably be the 6 we get. Just like that really condensed area that's quick to run around in. Also, T10 horses will randomly drop mythical feathers when running around. So if you have a T10, it's going to be easier to continue getting T10s, basically. Also, this AFK horse running, AFK horse training is now money, right? Just feathers are sellable, and now they drop while training, so potentially you can just make money by running around AFK on your T10. Which, can anyone pick them up? Who knows? Yeah, 0.00001%. Who knows, right? If it's super rare, it's not viable as an AFK strat, but that's kind of funny to think about. And also, feathers are showing up in Dark Rifts. So your Rift bosses will also drop feathers now. More feathers. Everyone wants feathers, right? That's like the thing a lot of people are getting blocked by. So that's a good thing. Duel me, huh? I will accept your duel while I continue the explanations or the overview. Mythical horses, horse racing, and Yar will get matchmaking. I think that's great. I think that's fun. Those are always fun to do. That would be another fun way to just. There's no harm to this, right? It's just fun. Have mini games, right? Have mini games in the MMO that people could have fun with. But it's not high priority, so it's been delayed. Who knows when it's going to come, basically. Horse races are going to also get mythical feathers again. Royal Fern Roots will be balanced again. I don't know which way they're talking. I'm assuming they mean they're going to increase Royal Fern Roots with it. Because last time they balanced them, they made them drop. They made not drop. They made the quests give more. So basically, what this I mean, it's the same thing that happened even with like back when T9s were released, where they were really hard to get and they just got easier as they kept handing out materials and other stuff, right? T10s, this was going to happen. T10s are just going to get easier to get. So they're just, we see that pattern continuing. Daily boss scrolls are no longer going to be tied to a quest, by the way. They will now be in challenges. So you can go in your challenge tab and you can get those from there, which is great. Maybe I've actually never done daily boss scrolls. I've ignored them my entire 4 years playing this game, and maybe now I won't. Because holy shit. Lucario is no longer popular. I don't know what this is. What is this? Does anyone know what this is? I don't know what Lucario is. This is new to me. I don't know what the fuck this is. I saw this and I'm like, I don't know. It's a sea monster. So Minesweeper gathering game. It's a gathering minigame. Okay. I've never done this. I don't know what this is, but maybe I'll try it out when they buff it. For anyone who does that, I guess. I was kind of bummed about. I'm happy and bummed about this, right? So some people might not actually know what Altar of Blood is, because it has actually been removed the game for a couple years now. So I'm gonna explain it real quick for those of you who are maybe watching on YouTube, or those of you who are, in chat who don't know. Altar of Blood was a piece of content that we had where it was an instance content for a party of 5, and it had different levels and waves. And it was basically like a tower defense. You'd basically spawn in this big, like, circular room with a tower in the middle. And your goal was to defend the tower. And there would be 4 entrances at the cardinal directions, so north, east, southwest, around the tower. And these enemies would just spawn at these entrances and try to make it to the tower. Some of them attacked you, some of them didn't. There were also boss waves where bosses would spawn. You'd have to kill the boss. And basically, if you defended the tower and lasted through the wave without the tower dying, you succeeded and you got drops. And there's a quest for it and stuff too. It was really cool. It was fun. They removed it because it wasn't very popular, and they wanted to rework it to make it more entertaining, more engaging, have better rewards, all that stuff. So they removed it like a couple years ago. And then they kind of just went radio silent on it for a long time. Like, honestly, this is the first they've mentioned Altar of Blood in, like, I'd wager over a year. We just had no idea what happened to this. I assumed it was just dead. It was gone. That was it. It was over. Air, thanks for the follow, man. But yeah, basically they're still working on it, but they're not sure if they want to do it, which is kind of what bummed me out because I was looking forward to this eventually coming back. Hopefully they go through with it, right? Hopefully they keep going and they find a good place for it, a good balance, a good way to redo it, to rework it, right? So hopefully this comes back. But basically they haven't forgot. They're working on it. They're still testing. Hold tight, right? Tara, thanks for the follow, by the way. Adventure logs. Adventure logs are too hard. They rely on guides to complete, make adventure logs simpler and easier. I don't know. I feel both ways about I feel both sides of this, right? I think how they are now is fun because it feels like an adventure, right? It's like this thing you're doing, adventuring in the world with all these objectives. It's like it's like you feel like it's like an achievement hunting thing, right? It's like an achievement. That's what it feels like. I enjoyed it. There are certain logs that are more annoying. Land of the Morning Light chest. But even looking back on those, I did have fun doing them, right? Because like for example, like with the Land of the Morning Light chest one, which is the one that a lot of people complained about recently, I can see it being boring, but I did it in a group. I grouped up together with Larry Fish, who's a friend of mine in the creator program, and we just did it together as a duo. We just sat in Discord, talked shit, had fun, laughed about trying to find the chest, having trouble finding spots, falling off of cliffs, struggling to climb. It was fun. I liked it. I get why they want to make it easier and more accessible, but I'm kind of bummed about it. I like how they are. Right? Yeah, I mean, like I said, Necron, I get it. Like, I understand why they're doing it. I'm still kind of bummed, though, because I liked how they were. But I understand. You know, I'll deal with it. RBF, again, this kind of falls in line with the earlier PvP stuff they talked about. They just want to make it better so more people want to do it. Blackstones. There are too many fucking Blackstones in the game. Um, this is a technical difficulty thing again, but merging armor and Blackstones together, so instead of having Blackstones for armor and Blackstones for weapons, it's just going to be a Blackstone now. Which is nice. I mean, it's kind of like a small win, right? Um, honestly, I don't really mind how many Blackstones there are. I think this is mainly addressed for new players, so they're not so confused with like what they need for what and whatnot. As an experienced player, I'm sure most people can probably say they don't really care. This probably doesn't bother most people. Um, no, what I would assume, Air, is any stone that's split between armor and weapon will be condensed. So it'll probably be a concentrated blackstone. That's probably what it'll be. But all the black stones for like, you know, Yodorite and Fallen God, those are all gonna stay probably. But that doesn't make sense. Hey, I'm just the messenger, okay? I'm just reading what I see here. Doesn't have to make sense, I guess. But yeah, I mean, this changes whatever. Like I said, I don't really care about this. I'm sure most people who played the game for a while don't care about this either. They're probably used to it. It's probably just for the new players, so they're not so confused. Sharp equals weapon, hard equals arm. Yeah. Ocean content. I love ocean content. I'm a big ocean content enjoyer. I love ocean content. I have a Carrick, I have a Pinoxion, I have blue boat gear. I barter a lot. We got it. More ocean content. They're developing a sailing minigame, which, I mean, all of this sounds exciting. Daily quests will be easier. Players can complete them solo. And again, more updates in the future. Look forward to it, fellow ocean enjoyers. We're getting more stuff. Weekly quests, they're changing the reset to Wednesday, so it's unified across the board for all things. Thank God. I don't have to worry about, oh God, this resets on Saturday, but then this resets on Friday. Oh, but then this is on Wednesday. Make it all on the same day so I can just not have to worry about what's what. Um, they are cleaning up our inventories. Finally. So basically all the little trophies you get for completing MSQ, all that stuff, they're gonna remove it. Because people in this game are hoarders. Everyone's a hoarder in this game. I'm a hoarder, you're a hoarder, we're all hoarders. They're gonna hold on to it even if it's a useless item they can throw out because they're worried about what if? What if I need it? So they're getting rid of those. That's gonna clear out a lot of the clutter. So yeah. Abyss 1, Magnus, and Black Shrine. They want to simplify the Magnus. I called this on day 1. The second I figured out how the Magnus worked, I was like, they're gonna make this, they're gonna change this. They're gonna try to reduce the loading screens. They're gonna do something to make it less annoying. Less rolling the dice on, am I gonna crash in this loading screen, right? They're also gonna try to work on clarity with or with the Black Shrine stuff. So that's the stuff in Land of the Morning Light. They want to make indicators better and more visible and more consistent with what their AoEs are. People like the instruments changes they've been doing. So they're making it better. They're adding more. They're keeping going with it. By the way, when does NA get to play instruments that when they're not on a shy? Only Korea has this now. When do we get it? Land of the Morning Light. They are removing the gourd. Thank you. My wallet thanks you. My silver thanks you. I don't have to waste silver on these anymore. Thank God. They are removing the gourd. Yes. They will remove it. Thank God. They originally made the potion due to inflation, so players would spend more silver. So they basically wanted a silver sink, right? They wanted people to waste money. But people didn't like it. Big shocker. People didn't want to spend 100 million silver a war on potions. So, there you go. Removed. Problem solved. 100? I don't know. I was just throwing out a random number. Could have been more, depending on how much you int. Yeah, that was pretty normal. When I was in crawling, they were like, everyone get your gourds. They didn't require it, thankfully. The guilds I were in didn't require it, but I'm sure some of the super sweaty guilds, like maybe Cho or something, like, if you don't have this, you're fired. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Crashing issues recently have been happening a lot. These are new issues that they've never seen before. Half of their developers are working on fixing the crashes. I mean, I'm not the only one who's felt this way, right? Like, these crashing has been happening more recently in the last 4 years. So, I feel like, again, this whole block of text right here is probably a result of the Node War Championship, the Asia Node War thing. Again, Korea suffering in order to make us have good changes is finally what it took. So, game will be more stable. RMT, real money trading, account trading. They found a better way to detect it. Don't do it. Why are you... I think it's so funny when people complain about their accounts getting banned for this stuff. It's like the surprise Pikachu face, right? That meme, you guys know that meme? It's like that. It's like the surprise Pikachu meme. I'm so shocked that you got banned for sharing your account or selling your account. Like, wow. But yeah, that's all the changes that they talked about. I think 90% of this is good. The biggest thing that I think is bad is this. This whole block about field bosses. Not the Garmouth Heart. The Garmouth Heart stuff is good. The field boss stuff is bad. I don't like this. Everything else is neutral or good in my opinion, though. So yeah, that's kind of like what I think about it. I like everything in here. I think this is all good stuff. We'll see if they follow through, though, right? How dare you punish me for something you clearly stated I'm not allowed to do? But yeah, so that's the overview, guys. Thanks for sticking around through it all. Thanks for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for, watching the video and listening to my opinions and kind of using me as your source of news. And I'll catch you in the next one, hopefully.